Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Bill Allen, sitting in for Winston Chester. We got a special guest this morning and a great show lined up for you. Today is Monday, June the 22nd. We're going to start off with the tides. Well, let's start off with the weather. I'm sorry. The high is supposed to be around 84 with the low around 67. We got an east wind at 5 to 10. If you believe that, you'll believe anything. It's going to be 15 to 20. So, and we're at that time of year, you know, where summer's here. We got the same forecast every day, a 50% chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon. So be aware. Now, looking at the tides, we've got a high tide at 11:59 a.m. and then a low tide at 11:16 p.m. The moon's only 4% illumination, so you don't have that to deal with, and got a water temperature around 78. Now the peak fishing times today, which tend to hold pretty true, are 2:21 p.m. to 4:21 p.m. So if we miss those thunderstorms, it's going to be probably a real good time this afternoon to be out if you can find a place out of that wind. Let's also look at the river readings near and dear to my heart. The Apalachicola at Bluntstown is 6.7 and it's starting to fall a little bit. Of course, that's fairly low. And then Choctawhatchee at Caryville is 8 feet and it's falling. It, of course, is influenced by a lot more local rain. So, all right, let's go ahead and take this break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. As you can see, I'm joined by my old buddy, Mr. Bill Shields of Think Real Estate, and 40 plus years of running around fishing and stuff. He's getting a little bit old, but yeah, he's quite a bit older than I am. But hey, let me ask you, what, you know, interest rates are higher and things like that. This is a little bit off the subject, but are real estate sales still pretty steady here?
Bill, they are. It was kind of funny, you know, when the mortgage rates jumped back last fall. Real estate was basically like the dark hole of Calcutta for about 2 months, and then I guess everybody figured it is what it is. And you know, we were in the market we were in for the last 3 years. That's not a natural market. That's not normal. No. So now we're back to a normal market, normal interest rates. So yeah,
whatever normal
real estate
is.
Business is good right now.
Whatever normal is.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get started, I've been holding on to this for a while because I haven't done the show in a little while. But our buddy, our old buddy from ball playing days, and he worked at Gulf Power forever, Ricky Green, is a big time, has always been a big time turkey hunter, and he's up in Kentucky. Ricky didn't die and go to heaven. He retired and went to heaven. And I'm still waiting on that invitation to come up, bud. But, you know, we'll get to that. But here he is with a real nice gobbler that he sent me these pictures a little while back. So I haven't quite got him on here, but that's him walking out. And he did send me, look at the beard on that thing. That's beautiful. This is all on Ricky's land up there. I don't know how much he's got, but those big deer that I was showing you and everything else, that all came from his property. So he is living the dream up there, as you might say. But anyway,
he's absolutely obsessed with turkey hunting.
He always has been.
As long as I've known him.
Back.
As long as I've known him.
Way back, that whole turkey thing got into his blood, and he loves it.
Yep.
So, and you know, he's another one that Dad used to fix and tweak all his guns, and I still have people talking about Dad today. For those of you who don't know, once he retired, he was a gunsmith, and he did a lot of work for a lot of people in Northwest Florida. But anyway, so All right, man. Well, what's going on? I know that you made an unauthorized trip to the houseboat without me,
Well,
and it was adventurous.
well, it was. We got my buddy Dennis Sauls and I were down there, and actually had my preacher and my youngest son Cody down there. Steve Taylor, Emerald Coast Fellowship, my pastor. But anyway, so they went bass fishing.
So it took a pastor to replace me, is what you're saying. Sort of.
Kind of raising the standard a little bit. But anyway, so he's absolutely obsessed with bass fishing, and he's very good at it. So he and Cody, they bass fished Wemco one day and fished flats the next day, and they just murdered them. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was terrible. But Dennis and I, so we're going to brim fish and catfish and do our thing, and didn't get 2 miles from the houseboat and spun the prop. Mm-hmm. And so we idled back to the houseboat, and guys, we fished for 2.5 days and never got out of sight of the houseboat, and we just caught fish like crazy. And you know, we were laughing because we get in the boat and we'll run 45 minutes from the houseboat to go fish, and we're just running by all kinds of fish to go find fish. Yeah. You know, so anyway, we really had a great trip, and didn't burn hardly any fuel. No,
I bet not. I bet not. Let me see. You sent me some of these pictures, I believe, and me being the technological wizard that I am.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That one is. We back up, Jeff?
Yeah, you have to get back on it.
Okay, I got to figure out how to do this. We may have to show these pictures a little bit later, but you guys actually did very well. It reminds me, when you told me that, it reminds me of back like in the early days when we didn't necessarily have a boat, and when we didn't have enough gas to go very far. But, you know, when we wade fished, and then, you know, when we fish like that, you tend to fish out spots a lot better than when you have all these fancy boats and stuff like we've got now. But
well, you know, when I was fishing with Don Morrell back when I was in high school and college, I used to deck on a charter boat with Don Morrell, and if you were catching fish, you know, the saying was, don't leave fish to find fish.
That's right.
You know, so if we were sitting on fish and they were biting a little bit, even though you weren't loading the boat, you didn't leave those fish to go look for something better. So I think we do that a lot of times, is, you know, now because we have the, you know, have the ability to run.
Well, that's right. And
everywhere.
Can afford the gas, or could.
Yeah, well, you could afford gas.
All right, listen, now that I've got this up, we're out of time. Got to go to commercial. We'll be right back and show you some of those pictures. All right, welcome back. I got this finally, with Jeff's help, taken care of. So this first picture is our buddy Dennis Sauls, who was down there, and that was one of your short trips from the houseboat.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Which looks pretty decent right there.
Yeah, we got a nice mess of brim and some shell cracker.
And a few little catfish thrown in there.
Yep.
Of course, it's harder to get the catfish spots when you can't run. They're close.
Yeah, but I've also learned that there's catfish right close by the houseboat too.
That's pretty nice right there that Dennis got, and then and you too. That looks pretty good. So.
Yeah, and we did all of our fishing. We were just basically finding the mouth of those little log drags that come out of the swamp and dump into the river.
And we were water, trying to find some water.
You know, down when you get from Howard's Creek, and actually north of Howard's Creek a bit, and moving south towards the bay, everything's tidal down there. Everything is influenced by the tide. So if you can catch a little bit of water falling out of there, and some of that water being drawn out of the woods, out of those log drags, You can fish them out those log drags, and you can do pretty good. You got to be patient sometimes and get them going. In some of those places, we may sit there for 15, 20 minutes before we ever got them started. But when we did, we'd catch a few of them. So
You didn't have any choice but to stay with them.
No, we had to stay with it. We weren't running anywhere.
Pick the likely place and stay with them. So now I'm assuming, from years of experience, that there were some of these fish consumed at the houseboat.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, if I'm going to fry fish one night. I try to, like I guess all the rest of us that are battling the waistline deal there, try to stay away from fried foods as much as I can. But when I go to the houseboat, all bets are off.
The
when
rules.
It comes to fried. The rules change.
The rules change at Howard's Creek.
Right, I will eat some fried fish.
The rules change at Howard's
But the
Creek.
calories don't count when you're on the houseboat.
No. That's part of the reason we look like we look today.
That's right. Yeah.
Have you? Did you have my hush puppies?
Oh, absolutely.
I got to tell you, we were down there. I don't know how long ago it was, and our buddy Greg Brudnicki got a recipe for making these candied jalapenos. And I don't know if you've had some. You can buy them in the jar, but he got a recipe for making large quantities of them. And Bill modified that recipe a little bit, and he makes them, so I don't have to make them. I get them from both ends. But for some reason, I ran back to when we started cooking, or Bill had started cooking there after everything was ready. I had to go back to the hill at Howard's Creek for some reason, so I ran down there, and when I came back, pulled up to the houseboat, I was sitting in the boat, and he grabs one of these hush puppies, and he goes, "Try one of these." And I'm like, well, okay, but I've eaten close to 1 million of these down here, over 40 plus years. And so it was different. He had diced up those candied jalapenos and put them in what's the only hush puppy mix in the world?
Sweet Betsy.
Sweet Betsy's, that's right. And had put them in the batter and then done the hush puppies. And I'm gonna tell you, they were out of this world. And since that time, however many years ago, there's not been any plain hush puppies there anymore.
I tell you, I've eaten hush puppies everywhere, and everybody's got a recipe for hush puppies, and I've tried every recipe out there, and there's some good hush puppies. But that Sweet Betsy's, that's the best hush puppy I've ever eaten. And
you combine it with that little kick of candied jalapenos. And,
you owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself. Go by and see Ricky Howell, or Ricky Snellgrove at Howell's, and they carry that Sweet Betsy's.
Yes, they do.
And you go see Ricky and get some of that Sweet Betsy's, and if you try it and you don't like it, call me. I'll buy it from you. I love it.
You want to share that candied jalapeno?
Oh yeah,
recipe?
it's really simple. I go to Sam's and I buy the gallon jar of the sliced jalapenos, and I bring it back and I drain all the brine off of it, and I drain the brine into a big pot. Take a 4-pound bag of sugar, dump that in there. You can add some chopped garlic if you want to. You can add some celery seed if you want to, and I like to. I add both of those to it. And then just turn the heat on and dissolve the sugar. And then take the brine, as much of it as you can, and pour it back into the jar with the jalapenos. Put a lid on it, put it in the refrigerator, go out every couple of days and just kind of turn it around, shake it a little bit, put it back in there. And in 2 weeks, it's ready. I mean, they are good, and I just leave them I have a refrigerator in the utility room, and I keep that jar in there. I've got a jar of them all the time. And so it's simple to make, but it is absolutely,
Yeah, it is also outstanding with tuna dip, with mullet dip, with anything like that. If you take that, put it on.
You can take a cracker and some cream cheese and put that on there, and it is absolutely just, I'll eat them until it just makes me sick.
See, the first time I ever had those, we were back when the Bay Point had the billfish tournament here, and we were walking the docks, and came up on Bobby Miley's boat.
Bobby?
Yeah, Bobby and Jill, and hollered at them. We went down on the boat to visit them, and they had some smoked tuna dip, and he had these candied jalapenos, which I at that point never heard of, but boy, from that point on, yeah, it was.
Man,
we were buying them, and did you buy those things in those little jars from some of these people? And it's like buying gold.
I'll make
expensive.
them. I'll make that gallon jar of them and then put them in pint jars and give them away at Christmas.
Yeah, well, that's what
people love them. They
Greg
just love
jars them up and Ed gives them away. So, so we wanted to share that with you, and I actually got Aunt Winston asked us to talk about that because it's just, you can't beat it. You can use it on almost anything, like Bill was saying. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and take this quick break. Be right back. Welcome back. By request, we have been known to entertain by campfires and other places mostly true stories about some of the things that we've encountered and done, and was mostly when we were younger, and with kids and everything else. Once we started somewhere, regardless of what happened, we went. So that creates some good stories. But there is one story we was asked to tell about. This was a hunting trip. You want to lead this off, do you?
When
I'll
we were
correct
younger,
you as we go along.
When we were younger and somewhat more agile and mobile than we are now, we used to do a lot of rabbit hunting, but we didn't have a rabbit dog. But basically, we had a lot of property that we could hunt, and we would put on our snake chaps and briar pants and all of that, and we'd get about 10 yards apart, and we would walk a field. And I'm talking briars. You'd have to beat the briars down with your gun stock to get through them. We'd move over and walk back. So we would do that and shoot rabbits and jump quail from time to time and all that. So anyway, this one particular time, there was a little pond bottom that we were going to hunt, and Bill's dad had gone with us.
Yeah.
And
he stayed on the outskirts.
Yeah, he kind of he didn't do a lot of the briar wading. He just kind of stayed on the outskirts. But anyway, so we come to this little pond bottom, and to get into the pond bottom, there was a little bit of a dike that you had to go over, and it was a dried pond bottom, and so. Early in the morning, we start over there. I think it was like in late January, early February. So we start over the dike, and this guy over here, he sees a squirrel, and boom, shoots the squirrel out of a pecan tree. Oh boy, it's gonna be one of those days. You guys are in trouble today. When you hear old thunder roar, just duck, cause something's fixing to fall.
That little Model 1216 today.
He's got to be a smart aleck. So anyway, his dad and I just sitting there rolling our eyes like, okay. So anyway, we get over in the pond bottom, and we hadn't walked 10 yards and stepped in the middle of a covey of quail. And they get up, everything rolls off to his side. He kills one or two on the covey rise. Oh Lord, there's thunder again. Y'all just better watch out. I tell you, it's something else. Y'all in trouble today. Okay.
I'd like to say he's embellishing that a little bit, but he's not.
I'm not.
I get
not,
the chance
not
to
at
rub
all.
it in.
Not at all. He's putting it on me. So we get started. We line up. We get our 10 yards apart, and we start. And I walked.
Now hold on. There was one more. Don't you remember that dove that came across and I killed him too?
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't, maybe.
Conveniently forget
probably
that.
embellishing the story at this point. But
forget that, yeah.
Anyway, so he's got a 3 or 4 nothing to lead on me at that point. And so we get lined up and start to move, and I probably walked about 10 yards and jumped a rabbit, and I shot the rabbit. And so I'm over here on the left side, and then Bill's in the middle, and his dad's over here on the right. So I jump the rabbit, shoot the rabbit. I go to pick that rabbit up, and on the way to pick that rabbit up, I jumped another rabbit. And that rabbit runs, and I shoot him. And I've got 2 rabbits down, and they're just standing there looking at me like, what's going on?
That close, hadn't seen.
They hadn't even seen what I'm shooting at, and
No.
I've killed 2 rabbits. So, y'all, if I'm lying, I'm dying. I go to pick that rabbit up, jump another rabbit, I kill that rabbit. This continues. I killed 9 rabbits, and I hadn't walked 30 yards.
He's shooting and reloading.
And they
so
think I've
fast.
lost my mind.
And we get a glimpse every now and then, and I'm thinking, this is going to be a long ride back to Panama City is the first thing I'm thinking.
Well,
then,
but I'm not that kind of person. I don't
No,
rub. I
no.
don't. You know,
You
if
never
I
take advantage
No,
of
I would not
situation
take advantage
like
of that situation
But,
at all. But
there was one that where I was standing that busted out from this caged-in area that Bill was in was full of rabbits. There's one that busted out, and Bill draws up on him and shoots about the time that he's actually hopping over this little log thing. And of course he's got some little moxie going right now. He said, Bill, run over there and get that rabbit. He said, I killed that rabbit. I said, you ain't hit that rabbit. I said, you ain't come anywhere close to that rabbit. He said, I'll go over there and pick it up. So I walked over there, and not truly, I didn't think he walked over there, and I looked over that little patch there, that little log, and that darn rabbit was laying there dead. And I'm thinking, I don't have it within me to kill something and leave something there, but I was that close to tell him, you ain't hit that rabbit, you ain't come anywhere near that rabbit. But I fessed up and went ahead and picked it up. But that was just one of those days where everything in the world happened. Of course, we'd been out there and hunted for hours and not killed 2 rabbits or quail, but that was just one of those days, and he stepped in the middle of everything and was shooting them so fast he couldn't reload fast enough to keep shooting them. So anyway, that was by request. So
and his dad laughed so hard. I thought he was going to lose.
He did. He was entertained by that.
Yeah.
All right, well, we've taken up our time, and we got to step out of here. Winston will be back, and God bless, and have a great day.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.